My name is Dr. Geeta. Today I am going to be discuss with you maladjusted student and what is the role of a teacher. So, student, this is very important subject to understand that someone's problem is very difficult. And that's why, as a child, as a person, if somebody is facing the problem with adjust in surrounding, that is very difficult to understand somebody else. The child problem are always a multifactorial, maybe in a developmental stage, or maybe they has a such personality problems. Maybe they have a coping or adaptive ability problems. So when children cannot adjust to a complex environment around them and they become unable to behavior in the society unacceptable way. This is the abnormal behavior. And this abnormal behavior is called a behavioral problem. So, friends, today we are talking about what is the maladjustment tried among us or in school or in society. But before that, we have to know about what is the meaning of adjustment. Unless and until we understand the concept of adjustment, what is a good adjustment is. So we cannot reach the problem of a maladjustment. Adjustment is the act of adjusting, adopting to particular condition or a position or a purpose. Adjustment is defined a process where then one uh, variables or one person in the behavior achieve the harmony with oneself, other, or environment within him or maintain to the formal balance between the individuals and the environment. Means whatever the environment that child is getting, according to that environment, he trying to build a adjustment with, within himself and related to that environment also. Adjustment has analyzed an achievement as well as a process in psychology. Each and every situation of a life demands that the person should be able to effectively perform in accordance with some guiding principles and should be able to strike a balance among the various forces. So based on this adjustment, all of we are very aware about this adjustment concept because we are born in such environment where every moment we are adjusting with our family, with our environment, with our surrounding. Most of time we are adjusting with our education system, with our teachers, with the school environment, whatever we got. According to that, we are adjusting to that particular situation. So adjusting means we know very well that we are trying to modify our behavior according to others' behavior. But what is then the maladjust or a maladjustment meaning? So maladjustment is a term used in a psychology in refer to the inability to reach the successfully and the satisfactory to demand the one's environment. Means whoever is not able to reach the successfully that demands of environment, that child or that person called a maladjust person or a child. Maladjustment is the term used in the psychology to refer the inability to reach the successfully and satisfactory to demand of one's environment. So I think here is same definition is written double. Maladjustment, on the other hand, is referred to when an individual's behavior does not meet the cultural or social expectations of a society. So, friends, in short, we are saying that maladjustment means This is the process whereby the individual is unable to satisfy his biological, psychological, social needs successfully and establish an imbalance between its personal needs and the expectations of the society, resulting in a decent disturbance of a psychological need. Actually, we can say the psychological or a sociological or personal or biological needs. Faculty adjustments, lack of a adjustment. Faculty adjustment, lack of a adjustment. This definition is written in 1823. Form of the mal and adjustment in psychological sense, unsuccessful adaptation to one's social environment. Are you getting? Yes. Psychological sense, what is it means? Maladjustment means unsuccessful adaptations to one's social environment. In psychology, the term refers to unsatisfactory behavior pattern that cause the anxiety or require the psychotherapy. This maladjust is a process whereby an individual is unable to satisfy his biological, psychological, or social needs successfully and establish the balance between personal needs and the expected needs by the society. Okay, this definition is taken by from Mangal. In the world of a Herbert Sorenson, yeah, he's given the one definition regarding the maladjustment. So, a person is not a harmony with his work if it is too hard, or if the student has too hard, or if the student has too little capacity, excessive failure is experienced. So, same wording is given in this definition. If it is so easy, or if the student has to high ability for his work, the work is dull or dreaming. So this is the another one definition regarding the maladjust students. So what is the gist of all these definitions? Which trying to say that so whoever the person is not adjusting in surrounding himself or expected rules or regulations, these all which known as a maladjust means in period or an in situation. They are not getting uh, that surrounding well, or you can say that they are not adjusting in that surrounding. That student or that child is known as a maladjust. So basically, on based on this definition, what is the what can we say that what is the symptoms of this maladjust students? The mental symptoms of maladjust students is that anxiety, disobedient, or the impulsive action, feeling of a sadness, hopelessness, or being a trapped. So these are some psychological symptoms we can easily find out that this person is maybe facing some problems. Withdrawn attitude. So withdrawn attitude means might be they are not comfort with group or with friends or with society or maybe not fit in family also. So that is the withdrawn attitude, lack of a concentration, loss of the self-esteem. Base of that might be they are about thinking about the suicidal thoughts. So these are some symptoms which can we easily find out, yes, maybe this child is facing a problem with maladjust. We can classify these causes maladjusted behavior or adolescent under the some main categories. So, what are that main categories of this all? Just we gone through that. We need here to maladjust. Okay. So these causes are we can easily divide it in three groups. One is the social, second is the economic, and third one is the psychological. Maybe some causes related to the family related, some maybe the school related causes is there, some is the personal, maybe teacher related, or maybe a peer group related causes is there. So basically, based on that, we are trying to see that what are the characteristics of this maladjusted child. As a school teacher, you might have to notice a few such maladjusted students in your classroom too. At that time, you might have even thought of us seriously about these students and reason for their maladjusted behavior. There are the numbers of reasons in and out of the school which has created a frustrations in that particular person. So basically the what are the characteristics? So we can see here. So this is the maybe a first characteristics we can say that the introvert. These students is not able to adjust the society, school, student or teachers. So that's why they maybe seems as an introvert. Maybe because of this they are depressed. Yes. Depression is the another one big characteristics of a maladjusted students. And that's why they are maybe a unhappy, sadness, maybe they feeling a guilty. Sometimes they are feeling the guilty also because they are watching surrounding. Everybody is very happy to adjust the environment, but that child cannot adjust that environment, and due to that, maybe he or she felt a guilty also, and that's why withdrawal from the mainstream. So nobody is trying to adjust such type of a student, and they are automatically throughout the mainstreams, and that withdrawal feeling maybe make them more unhappy. Maybe in these characteristics, they are abused by maybe a family or a friend or somewhere else. That is the maybe one reason because of they are feeling depressed. Uncooperative behavior, violent or a self-injury behavior. That is the one big characteristics of a maladjusted students. Basically, some are injured to other, but most of them are injured. They are trying to injure themselves. So this is the another one characteristics. So maybe there is the antisocial attitude. That is one characteristic. We can say that, for example, lying or cruelty. Social maladjustments conducted a problem. They are not accepted the rule and norms given by the society. And these type of people is known as a antisocial people, or we can say the antisocial attitude among these such maladjusted students. Means what? They are not trying to adjust or they cannot digest whatever the society or a family giving the rules and regulations ethics to them. Okay, and they are trying to avoid this. They are not adjusting in this particular situation, and this behavior is known as a antisocial attitude or a activity. Along this antisocial attitude, which are the sub points in that we can see that maybe there is a very short attention span of that particular child. Means they cannot focus one certain period on any topic, any subject, any one activity. So that is the one characteristics of that mal uh, adjust student. So problem in abstract thinking, maybe there is the problem of abstract thinking. Means whatever you're trying to explain, if they cannot see by their eyes, they cannot visualize that, they cannot touch, they cannot feel, then they cannot understand that whatever the concept teacher is teaching or family is telling them. So means what? That is they cannot they facing a problem to understand the abstract level thinking. For example, mathematical calculations. If you explain on only board, they cannot get. Same thing with the science. If you're talking about some characteristics of some animals or something, they cannot imagine those things and they are facing a problem to understand that abstract level. Same with the language. Okay. So unless and until if you clear those all things, if you don't use a different methods to teach, they cannot learn properly. So that is the another one characteristics we can say. Coordination. Some students having the big problem with the coordinations. Means whatever they are thinking, they cannot write. Means brain thinking and writing. That coordination might be they are facing in this coordination. They want to speak something, they are thinking something, but they cannot speak properly. So these are the something, whatever a psychological process among them, they cannot balance or they cannot coordinate one or two things simultaneously. So with that, maybe a reading problems is there, maybe a writing problem is there, maybe a subject problem is there. Just I mentioned that there is maybe a mathematical learning problem, maybe a science learning problem, maybe a language and different kind of the problems is there. So based on this all characteristics, so we are going to be categorize the behavior in two different type, or you can say the differently we are categorize all this behavior. One is we can say the um, habit related problems. Habit related problems, there is, for example, nail biting. Means somebody when they are not feeling well, they are starting to nail biting. If they are stressed, they're starting to nail biting. If they start to thinking, they start to nail biting. Means what? They are depressed and they are not controlling or um, controlling their emotions. So eating, that is another one problems. Means sometimes overeating, sometimes less eating, or sometimes student or a child when they eat, they directly omit. Okay, so omitting, they every time feel like that I cannot digest those foods, and they start to omitting. That also a problem. Sleep problem. So sleep talking, that is the big issue, the maladjusted student. So maybe that's a sleep means maybe they sleep more or else they sleep less. But there is the sleeping problems is there. Same along with the speech problem. Speech problem, maybe that is the articulation disorder, maybe shuddering, shammering, these kind of a speech problems they are might be facing. Scholastic problems, which is basically the reading problems or a writing problems or a school phobia. Most of you we know and might be we are very aware of these things. Mostly child didn't like to go school. Why? Because of that is the new environment and they are feel that they cannot adjust that environment, and that's why some of them are facing the big problem, or you can say the school phobia. They don't want to go school, they don't want to adjust the school environment, they don't want to learn, they don't interact with the teachers. So these kind of problems, which is we can say that these are the uh, habit related problems. We can identify such problems child and we are trying to think about that. Another problems or another category of these problems, basically we can say that the maybe a personality problem, maybe a adjustment problem. In personality problem, basically we found the um, complex attitude among the adolescent stage. So this one is always we found out. So some students are uh, very what can say that we are very um, unhappy with their own color, maybe own height, maybe overweight, about their hair, about their looking. So these all external looks. So this complex maybe they feel embarrassing. They are not adjusting whatever they have and they are feeling alone. They try to stay out of this society, out of this group, and they feel alone. Means they are enjoy their loneliness. So that is the one problem. Another which can we say the social problem. Maybe a facing problem to understand a physical, emotional changes in that particular age. And they cannot talk about these all changes with their parents, with their friends, or with their colleagues, or sister or brother. So that's why they are not able to understand what's going on. And that feeling maybe they are facing a lot of problem. So maturation, masturbation, homosexuality, there is an n number of the sexual problem is there in that age, means in adolescent age. They want to know each and everything, whatever changing change is happening, but they can't talk freely. And that's why they face a lot of problems. So adjustment problem which called the temper tantrum. Okay, temper tantrum. This is the basically the adjustment problem. Means they cannot adjust in any surrounding. They want something else, whatever they have. So due to these all things, they face a lot of problems in their own socialization. So, student, socialization is the process basically, and there comes a sociology subject. But socialization means what? So, we are adjusting with our environment, with ourselves, along with society, according to the society's norms, regulation, or expectations. But such kind of student, they are not going to fulfill this all, and that's why socialization problem is a big issue among these maladjusted students. Whatever we discussing the characteristics of a maladjusted students, again that should be divided in three groups. For example, that is the beginning stage of a age. There is a one stage, and according to that stage, problems are maybe different. Childhood stage, that time, that age group, that is a different, and that's problem also different. Adolescent stage, just we mentioned that that stage they want to know a lot of things, but due to the proper or a scientific knowledge, they face a lot of problems. Adjust these all things or a adaptation of these all things. So friends, based on these all characteristics or causes and um, what you called problems, how we are going to assess such maladjusted student in our classroom. Okay, so we are focusing on how to assess. So in this topic, we are talking about there are the two way to assess such kind of a student. One way is the direct method and another is the indirect method. So what is the direct method and indirect method? We are going to see that. So direct method is the continuous observation of that particular child. Participatory observation means whenever the child is in your class, you are trying to observe each and every movement of that child in whole day, how he behave, how his attention towards the learning, how that particular child is adjusting in classroom, how you speaking with their friends. Okay, so which kind of questions he or she asking. So such continuous observation may be help teacher to assess the student. Natural as natural observation in classroom with a peer team. Indirect method, you can go with the experimental method. For example, this is the previous stage of this student. You are observing something, you are trying to give some remedial program, and afterward, how his behave. So you are trying to comparatively see, is there any change? Yes, if there is change, you are going next stage. If it's not, then again you are trying to do something for that student. So experimental method you are using for to assess such maladjust child. You can go through the case study also. For example, you are a class teacher, and in your class, such maladjust child is there. And as you class teachers means at least 1 or 2 years you are that classroom teachers. So you can easily observe that child, how his behavior is that, how his development is there. So you can go through the case study method to identify such maladjustment student and their behavior. So continuous observation under the case study also one another method to find out the maladjust child. Indirect method, sorry, direct method, under that you can go with the clinical method also, psychological and psychoanalytical method also. Indirect method, that is the another part. Indirect method of assessment of a maladjust child. So using some psychological test, we can go indirectly to assess such kind of a student. So personality test is available, attitude test is available, psychological some adjustment uh, tools is there. So we can use the test, and based on the test, we can find out. So what is the stage of that students in the adjustment behavior, and how you're going to overcome this all maladjust. So interview and checklist. Okay, so interview and checklist also one kind of method to check out the maladjust children. So once you assess, yes, these are the maladjust child, maybe they need some special focus or some special treatment or some extra attention from you, then there is the question arise, how to handle this maladjust student in a classroom. Okay, so as we know that nowadays in schools, a psychologist is appointed, is a compulsory, means appointment of a psychologist in every school is a compulsory, but it's not possible due to some many reasons. So many schools still they have no psychologist or a therapist like this. So every time is therapist may be not available in the classroom time, so teacher should be play a big role with such student. So teachers should be identify such students early and then they send them to therapist for a treatment or a extra care. Because friends, without any Mm, special training, we cannot handle such special student. So we need a extra knowledge, extra and deep knowledge for how to handle the students. So a psychologist therapist will be take care of this student. So that's why we have to need to send the student to the therapist. So provide the climate favorable to the development of mental health of a such student. That also very important. Teachers should not discourage the students if they cannot handle the students. Friend, this is very important. Just I mentioned that you have to play a vital role to development of this child. But sometimes somehow this is not possible to handle the child by the teacher. But this is a humble request to all teachers. If you're not motivating the child, but don't discourage also. Okay. So don't discourage this kind of child. Make them learn with their own potential. So teachers should always update themselves as per the student's problem. They should take the broader and in-depth knowledge about the such kind of the student. So these are the responsibility of a teachers. So as a family, as a school, as a peer group, as an environment, there is the everybody's responsibility to take care of such special kind of student. So handling the maladjusted child is really a very big sensitive issue because how you are going to handle that is very difficult. Okay, so as per the types of that maladjusted child, you have to behave different way. So this is a sensitive, this is the difficult, but this is not impossible. Okay. So this is not only their parents or a relatives or a friend's problem. It's a total responsibility of a society. So this responsibility to care of such all students is very necessary and they make them free to adjust in mainstream. So that also very important. So as a teacher, this is the big responsibility to honors, make them free to adjust whatever the environment is that. So this is very big sensitive issue and for that purpose in India in 1963, NCERT in Delhi conducted a one seminar on this particular issue. And this seminar experts who can emphasize the need of qualified, experienced teachers body who will understand and plan a remedial program for to such a maladjusted children. So, student NCERT, this is the one educational body who are thinking about the teacher means they need expert teachers to handle such kind of all problematic students or we can say that some special need required student. So we trying to make this successful uh, among the teachers. We trying to make the teachers aware about these all things. So this is very important. A teacher's personality has great bearing of a personality development of the student. It is stated that books can teach, only personality can educate. A various researchers prove that emotional stability of the teachers affect on learners' learning. So friends, we can imagine how important we are. So our mental stability is very important. Our emotional stability is very important for our student development. Impact of teachers' temperament, that also very important in general stability of a teachers is of utmost importance in balance and control the emotional development of the student. Any mental imbalance or a temperamental instability of the teachers will reflect the students' behavior. Means problem is everywhere. Every person have their own problems. Means teachers also having their own problems. But what is the expected? They have to leave their own problem at their home, or before entering the classroom they have to keep outside those all problems. That is important. Impact of teachers mental health. A mental health and a well adjusted teachers plays a vital role in promoting mental health of a students. So only if the teachers is free from worries, anxiety, and mental hygiene, thus in order to develop a sound mental health in students, teacher themselves should pose the sound mental health among the student. So student, as per this topic, we are focused all those things which is comes under this maladjust student. So what is the maladjust student? What is the nature of that? What are the definition of maladjust child? What are the causes of maladjustment? How we are categorize these problems in two phases or a three classification of that problems, how assess the problems, and how to handle this maladjust student in classroom as a teacher. This is all points we covered in this session. So hope you like this lecture and understand. So this is the references given here. So if you want any extra references or a related point, you need extra information. So please go through these all links and be learned and try to help such maladjust student in your classroom. Thank you so much.